Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are. Thank you for being here and joining Cosmic Wholeness as we're entering the pattern of layers. My tech wizard and the mixing board are on a retreat together, so things will be a little bit different today, but I think we'll make do. I have some visual teaching materials for us. We're going to do some movement and I hope we'll have my voice guiding us through all of that. How lucky that we are in the pattern of layers, because I get to use my video editing software to layer all these components on top of each other, and I think it will turn out all right. But before we jump into some layers exploration, let's set the playing field. Let's set our container together. You can follow along with the gestures and some of the core phrases if that feels good to you. Here we go. Here I am as I am. Just take a moment to give yourself permission to show up precisely as you are right now. With all your parts, with all your emotions, whatever's going on, it's okay. We bring it along. Here I am, embracing myself. I'm giving myself permission to listen in, tune in, and then to adapt, to change, and to make the session what I need it to be for myself today. Here I am, entering receiving mode. Instead of being in our doing, figuring out, getting it right mode, let's be in our receptive mode, allowing ourselves to just float through the experience, to linger with nuggets and moments that seem interesting for us, but also to allow ourselves to let things pass by, to not have to figure out, to not to prove, to not to get it right. Meaning making will happen when it happens. Right now I'm here to receive. Here I am, and how do I want to be with this time? Take a moment to set your intentions. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be as we're here together? What qualities do you want to bring to the table? And here I am. Here we are. Stretch. Just taking a moment to sense how we truly are together beyond space and time, joining in this moment of play and experimenting together. Yay. Welcome again. Here we are with layers. I went on a walk just the other day and encountered quite a few of them. Thought I would share a few brief snippets with you to kick us off. Layers of vegetation, layers of atmosphere, layers of soil, ozone layer, layer of fur and fat. Are the climate zones layers? Nice twisty protective layer of bark. Whew. Glad I had that layer. All right, let's move into and through some layers together. If that is available to you, please come on up to your feet and find some space for yourself. Let's maybe start with just finding a gesture for layers? What could a gesture for layers be for us? There's no right or wrong answer. And notice and play with the idea that there is a variety of directions that layers could take, of course. And one of the fundamental differences would be that there are layers that come from inside out. Let's think about tree rings, for example. Or layers that are horizontally above each other, like the layers of soil. I want to guide us through some experience of layers, and I invite us to step into the imaginal realm again, where we are able to embody ideas and sense them with our entire system. Let's take the example of the onion. We are currently not an onion. As we learned in vibration, there are very likely some molecules in the onion that are also present in me, and there's a certain kinship to that. But I am currently not an onion, yet if I step into the imaginal realm of being an onion, I can benefit from the idea. I can sense it, perceive it, move through it. Just allow the idea of onionness to move into you and to move you. So let's be an onion, and let's start it from just a small shoot underground. As my onion develops, new leaves are added to it, but these leaves are added on the inside. Start just with one or two of these, and then add more and more leaves on the inside, pushing the old ones toward the outside. Gaining in circumference as we're continuing to receive nutrients and water from above ground, but also from the soil. The outer layers start to harden, to dry out, creating a wonderful protective shield. Protecting the added fresh layers from the inside, filled with nutrients and water. Making the onion super resilient. How do your layers feel? What do you experience in your layers? Let's switch plants and become a corn plant. We have a stalk, large leaves, Now let's have an ear of corn begin to form along the side of the stalk. From the base of the ear, leaves start to form the husk. These layers of husk wrap around the ear, and they also grow from the inside out. Much like tree rings expanding over time. Inner husks develop later, more and more of them, creating multiple layers of protection. Then the corn silk emerges on the top of the husk, with each strand of silk connected to an individual kernel inside. Pollen from the tassels lands on the silk and travels down to fertilize the kernels. And eventually our corn matures, the husk providing protection from pests and weather, helping with moisture retention, giving structural support. And eventually, these layers of husk dry out. Let's have someone harvest this corn and strip the husk away. Let's do it gently first. Maybe it's a kid that with curiosity peels away layer by layer of the husk. What do you experience as your husk is shedded? Until the last leaf is removed, the last layer is gone, and all that's left is the golden corn. Let's go back to being a full corn. All the husks intact. But then let's have someone strip those husks fast, like 3-4 rips, and they're off. 1, 2, 3, 4. What did you experience here? Let's move to a similar but different layer experience. Instead of being a corn, let us be a spring flower with a very tight bulb. All those layers of petals tightly packed together until the conditions are just right for us to open up, allowing our layers to unfold into the sun. And at the end of the day, let's bring our petals back in. becoming a tight bulb again. Just to open up again as the sun invites us to the next day. Let's move to another layer experiment. Let's maybe walk some layers. Let's walk the layers of a tree, starting on the very inside of the tree, and just the very core channel of the tree. Then let's walk out into the first ring, the second ring, the third ring, the fourth ring, yet another ring, another ring toward the outside. We're starting to get close to the bark. One more ring. And we are on the bark of the tree, in the bark of the tree. Just noticing what shifts for us. Maybe we can even be in the air layer around the tree. Moisture exchange with the tree, just floating around the circumference of the tree. Let's go back into the protective layer of bark. And then into the seventh ring, sixth, fifth, fourth, third, second, first, and we're right in the center of the tree. Let's go back to being a human onion. Imagining that we have those layers of more tender petals on the inside and some tougher layers on the outside, giving us a certain amount of protection. And let's walk ourselves with all of our layers into a crowded space. Many other onion people around. Maybe it's a conference. Maybe it's a bar. Maybe it's a classroom. Just perceive yourself in this environment with all your layers. how does the experience shift if you allow some of the hard outer layers to drop? If you yourself peel away some of the layers, how many of them are you willing to let go of? Would you be willing to shed more layers if other onions did too? Let's imagine that that is happening. All the onion people around you are shedding their outer layers. How do you feel now? Let's put our layers all back on, wrapping ourselves tightly into our protective layers. And then let's walk back into that room of protected onions. And there's this one onion, and it allowed the layers to be shed. Let's approach it. How do you want to be with that onion person? Do you allow your outer layers to loosen? Do you allow some of them to shed? Do you and your new friend want to leave this place? Maybe do that. Put on as many layers again as you need to feel comfortable right now. Decide if all of them are needed right now. Just take a moment to linger in that experience. All right, here we are, layers, and we're just getting started. The next thing that I would like to do is to take you to my computer and show you some human anatomical layers. As we're looking at these, you may continue to move. The idea is not to learn the precise anatomy. The idea is not to remember all of this. The idea is to embody our anatomy as we're looking at it, to feel it inside of yourself. Okay, here we are looking at a model of the human female body, and let's just start stripping some layers away. So we're removing the skin, and I'll go pretty quickly right now, and we'll take some more time as we're reconstructing it. Ligaments away, taking the skeleton away. Vital organs, except for the heart and cardiovascular system and brain. Here that goes. Lymphatic system. And now all that we're left with is our nervous system. So let's perceive the nervous system as one of our innermost layers. I'll zoom us in a little bit to see those beautiful strands of nerves, particularly here at our tail, then following the spine up here, into the ribs, down the arms, connected to the brain back here. Nerves going forward into our face, to our eyes, all the way hands, fingers, pelvis, down into the feet. Okay. Let's bring in our lymphatic system, beautifully wound into everything. And let's take the nervous system away and the brain, just to have a quick look at that. So the lymphatic system kind of looks like a starry sky, with all the nodes in there. Also with strands going down all the way. Lymphatic system transporting white blood cells, removing waste and toxins. Super essential for the immune system. And here comes the heart and the cardiovascular system. Take the lymphatic system out. Here, just look at that. Heart, all those arteries and veins leaving, blood flowing out, blood flowing in. So many vessels up there around the brain, woven into the brain. See if we can sense all these inside of you. Blood flowing everywhere. Here come liver and spleen and digestive organs, and the lungs were just constructed. Let's take blood system out. Let's take a look at that one more time. So here we are. Just feeling into your organs. Without having to know every detail about them. Let's quickly switch to the male version of that. Whoop. And here are male parts. The male organ layer. Okay, and let's give those organs a skeleton to support it. It's beautiful to see how the rib cage protects the lungs. And let's feel into our skeleton. Marveling at the structure. Oh, those foot bones. Feeling your pelvic bones, sacrum, coccyx, back here. All the finger and hand bones, spine, ribs, shoulder blades. Let's give our skeleton the ligaments back. Here we go. There they are. Wow. Now, if we're using the tendons and ligaments as another layer, notice how this layer makes our skeleton system work, makes it be able to move, hold together, be flexible, absorb shock. Super essential. Here. That's just the ligaments. Okay, let's add some muscles. Zooming out. Okay. Whoop. Okay, we're starting with like an inner layer of muscles. And then we will slowly just add more and more layers of muscles around that. Marveling at all the directions, at the diagonals that build our costume or layer of muscles. What I'm not quite sure about, I don't think the app allows us to see fascia, or the white things could be fascia. I looked that up yesterday, and fascia can be gel-like, it can be almost liquid, and it's also a layer of us that holds things in place, but can also serve as a lubricant, keeping us fluid. So I like to play with my layer of musculature, and I like to play with a layer of fascia as well. Well, and that brings us back to a full human being. I invite you to dance with me through these layers or move in them to the music. Let us start moving from our bone marrow, the very inside of our skeleton in every single bone. How does movement from the bone marrow feel like? Let's expand it to our full bones. Let's move from our nervous system, remembering all those strands connected to the brain. Lymphatic system. Moving from our organs, digestive system, purification organs, lungs, moving from our muscles. Let's start with the deeper layers. Adding on further layers of musculature. All those beautiful diagonals, wraps, twists. Let's try moving from our ligaments and tendons, making all that movement between skeleton and musculature even possible. Trying on the feeling of fascia. Gel-like lubricant layer, able to change its own consistency. Let's embrace and move from our fat layers, giving us cushioning, insulation, roundness, juiciness. And arriving in our skin. Skin of warm air and moisture. And then gently coming back to stillness. Let's take a moment just to let that all sink in. Feeling into yourself. How are you now? Thank you for joining me today in this exploration. The next session we'll have the tech wizard back, which makes me glad, always. If you want to support this channel, I appreciate any likes, subscribes to the channel, and of course comments underneath the video. You can of course also drop your comments in the WhatsApp group. If you want to join our WhatsApp community, just look at my website, michaelschupe.com/cosmic wholeness, and there's a way for you to send me a message through the website and let me know that you want to be part of the group as we continue to share our journey there as well. Thank you and see you very soon.